permission to audition for a swell radio post, just to tell you I love you from coast to coast. It's not the money in the honey that I keep thinking of you. It's the chance to romance you from coast to coast. Sometimes I start to pour out my heart in writing, but through a mic the words sound more exciting. So if I get work on the network, honey, I'll sing you a toast when I broadcast I love you from coast to coast.
That was Ray Pearl and his orchestra. Sounded a lot like Guy Lombardo and his orchestra, but there were several copycats. At some point in the early 30s, Jan Garber also went from a hot jazz band to a Guy Lombardo sound-alike, and at least on this recording, I don't have a lot of stuff by Ray Pearl. He sounds like sounded like Guy Lombardo, and we'll have some. It's New Year's. Guy Lombardo is associated with New Year's, so we'll have something by Guy later on in the broadcast. But that was Ray Pearl and his orchestra, I Love You from Coast to Coast. And for the past good many years, we've always opened our second hour of our New Year's Eve broadcast with that recording. And this is our 14th such broadcast over here on Radio Dismuke. And we are in Dallas, Texas, and the wonderful home of Leslie, who is hosting our broadcast for us. And we have a lot of stuff, and among the other things we will be doing is, in addition to ringing in the new year in all 4 continental United States time zones, we will also be featuring songs from the year 1919, because after this broadcast airs, it'll be 2019, the 100th anniversary of that. And if you're listening to us New Year's Eve or joining us in the middle of the program in New Year's Eve, the broadcast will repeat in continuous rotation excuse me, repeat in continuous rotation throughout New Year's Day. So right now we have at the mic number 3, which we'll hopefully get back in service here, is Dustin. You've got the next record up. Tell us about it.
Yeah, well, first I want to say Happy New Year's to everybody. I hope you're having fun wherever you are. I want to go ahead and, if anybody's more interested in my museum and what we're doing, you can visit our website at phonoinc.com. That's PHONOINC.com. But this next record, I figured we'd play something special since we're in a beautiful bungalow. I'd play a Edison Lateral electric type 78. So that way you don't have to switch out the stylus on this one, and it's an Edison.
It is,
yeah. But this is a wonderful song, King of the Bungalows. It's side R, 1101, and it's by Bob Pierce, nicknamed Old King Cole. So haven't even heard this one yet. So
here we go.
I just received little cable dispatch from my ancestral home, and it tells me I'm the King Kazoo, successor to that throne. My throne's gonna be a bungalow way up in the trees, where I'll be ruling monarch over all. My slaves will be gorillas, apes, monks, chimpanzees, who'll be ever ready at my beck and call. For I'm gonna be that King Kazoo, up high on the bungalow. Well, I'm going to ride across that Nile upon a royal crocodile. Well, on the throne, I'm going to take my stand. Then I'm going to be the mighty man. I'm going to be that Zuko, the Mughal Grand, and the king of the bungalow. For I will be the king Garuga Higazoo. Well, I will be the Higazink, will be the king of the bungalow. Well, I'd hop around inside, hop right around upon the back of the crocodile. All the natives, they will laugh at me when they look on the shining Zaga Zaga, little me will oh, my, give me the piece of pie, king of the bungalow. My chariot's gonna be of gold, with a zebra for my steed, and my tandem will be lions bold, way up in the lead. Streets all paved with ivory, set with precious stones, with 97 wives to call my own. And an elephant for porter, 'cause he can pack a trunk, with a tiger for a footstool on my throne. For I'm gonna be that King Gazoo, up high on the bungalow. Well, I'm going to ride across that Nile upon a royal crocodile. Well, on the throne, I'm going to take my stand, and then I'm going to be the mighty man. I'm going to be that Zuko, the Mughal Grand, and the king of the bungalow. Well, I will be the king Garuga Higazoo. Well, I will be the Higazink, will be the king of the bungalow. Well, I'd hop around inside, hop right around upon my back of the crocodile. All the natives, they will laugh at me when they look on the shining ink for Zaga Zaga, little me will oh, my, give me the piece of pie, king of the bungalow. For I will be the king Garuga Higazoo. Well, I will be the Higazink, will be the king of the bungalow. Well, I'd hop around in style, hop right around upon the back of the crocodile. All the natives, they will laugh at me when they look on the shining for Zaga Zaga, little me. Oh, my, give me the piece of pie, king of the bungalow. For I'm going to be that King Gazoo, up high on the bungalow. Well, I'm going to ride across that Nile upon a royal crocodile. Well, on the throne, I'm going to take my stand, and then I'm going to be the mighty man. I'm going to be that Zuko, the Mughal Grand, and the king of the bungalow, the bungalow.
And that was very cool. That was in a rare record. So those Edison laterals, those were only made for a few months in 1929. Edison's flat records that weren't cylinders were the diamond discs, which by the late 20s were basically, the market share had fallen, and so he was in a last-ditch effort to regain his record business. So he came out with conventional 78s, and the first ones came out in July of 29, and he closed the company in October, at the end of October. So they were, if you find those, they're very rare, and we actually, Radio Dismuke, early 1900s Music Preservation, the organization that now operates Radio Dismuke, had a wonderful donation from a very generous a donor of a whole bunch of very rare needle-type electric, they're called Edison laterals, and late electrical diamond discs, and you're now hearing those in the regular Radio Dismuke rotation. Those are extremely rare records, and that was an example that we don't have in our archives, and I thought that was very enjoyable. It was cool. I'm glad you played that. So what we've got now is, let me get these. We're getting some feedback from the speakers here. So what we're going to do next is, I am up next in the rotation. We are going to go to and something I just read about this when I was checking some information on this recording. So this is a Paul Whiteman Potato Head label. So this, when in 1928, Paul Whiteman was Victor's big famous star, and what happened is Columbia, his contract came to an end, and he was kind of dissatisfied with the way that Victor was promoting and treating him, and Columbia lured him away, and that was huge for number 2 Columbia. They were a distant second from Victor, so they made a big deal. Hey, we just got our competitor's top artist, and they came out with a brand new label, and it's very colorful. For that period, it was orange, green, blue, black, and it has this caricature of Paul Whiteman's head, and it looks like a little potato with a, so they call it the Potato Head label. So I brought this along because one of the people that was going to be here this evening is Dennis. Dennis is a local collector out of McKinney, Texas. and he's been in McKinney for several years, but prior to that, he'd been emailing me on and off. I think he was from California before, and he showed up in Texas, and he's been trying to make it. He was planning to be here and could not make it today, but Dennis is a huge Paul Whiteman fan. And so I found, going through records for the broadcast, I found a couple of Potato Head labels. Well, I've got one we'll do later. But what was interesting about this one, I think this side here has got the Rhythm Boys. But it's interesting on it, though, as I just read in Rust's discography, that this, even though this was issued as Paul Whiteman and his orchestra, according to Rust's discography, this is not Paul Whiteman's orchestra. This actually was Ben Selvin orchestra. Ben Selvin was the in-house band for Columbia, and that he was using Paul Whiteman, Bill Chalice, Paul Whiteman's arrangements. So he was using arrangements from Paul Whiteman's library, but according to Brian Rust's American Dance Band discography, this actually is Ben Selvin's orchestra, not Paul Whiteman's. I wouldn't tell by listening to it. So we'll put that on and we'll play that. So what's it say here? Yep. Oh, it's called What'd You Say? Yeah, Eric just reminded me I didn't give you all the title. Wow. Here we go. So there it is, Ben Selvin's orchestra, credited on the label as Paul Whiteman and his orchestra. And I mentioned the Rhythm Boys and Paul Whiteman. That's actually on the other side of the record, which we'll play later. I was actually trying to remember which side I was going to play, and it turned out the other side is the one I intended. I looked in Rust to remember which one had the early Bing Crosby vocal on it, and I'm looking in Rust to see which one, and all of a sudden I'm realizing, oh my goodness, it says it's not even a Paul Whiteman recording, even though it was. So we learned something historically there. Anyway, I wanted to put that out for Dennis, because Dennis could not make it to the broadcast tonight, and I kind of picked that one when I'm going through stuff. One, it's a neat recording, and I'm thinking, well, I don't know if something Dennis would have brought, but certainly he probably would have picked it out of the stuff I was going through. So maybe next year Dennis will be able to make it. So right now, as I turn that mic up, so Eddie, you are the say something, Eddie. Just make sure.
Yes, I have a record collector friend who lives in Monterrey, Mexico, who has a YouTube channel, Ricardo, and he sends me records every once in a while. He and his friends Omar and Perla like to come. He goes to Houston and they come up to Waco, and we make all the sites, Dr. Pepper Museum, and then we go out to the Cameron Park and play his Pathé Portable, and he's always finding real good records that Victor made for the Mexican and South American market. Nat Shilkard made many under the name Orquesta International, or any national. I can't say it. It's for that market. And this particular record is called Mariposa, the Hispanic version, but underneath it's Butterfly, and it's described as a fox canción. In other words, it would ordinarily be a foxtrot. But anyway, this is Nat Shilkard's orchestra as the Orquesta International. I just can't get it out. Anyway,
International.
Mariposa, international, I might as well say it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here we go.
About 1928.
Cool. Let's give this a listen. was a good one. I like that. I was mentioning to Eddie, it almost sounds like a song that Bob Herring would have recorded on Brunswick. Band didn't sound the same, but it reminded me of some of the stuff Bob Herring has recorded. So up next is Eric in our rotation is Eric. We are on the 14th annual Radio Dismuke New Year's Eve broadcast. Eric, tell us what you have up for us next.
Well, I have a bit of a label conundrum with this next selection, just as the Paul Whiteman Potato record said that it was a Paul Whiteman record, and, well, it turned out to be Ben Selvin. So this happens sometimes with these old records. This record is not a music record that we're going to hear. It is one of the more unusual offerings in the Victor catalog in the early 1930s. A little bit about the background of this record and the subject matter. This is a record that pertains to Newt Rockne, the head coach of Notre Dame, legendary college coach, probably one of the finest coaches to ever live. And during the 1920s, he was a very, very famous man indeed. And when he was killed tragically in a plane crash in March of 1931, President Hoover declared a national loss. He was very well known in his lifetime, and of course, what made his untimely demise even more tragic was that he was actually heading out to Hollywood to work on a film about his life, and the movie was called The Spirit of Notre Dame. So, what I have here is a recording. Now, bear in mind that his accident occurred in March of 1931. I have a recording here that was dubbed from film to wax in September 1931. The movie was released on October 13th, 1931. If this is correct, we could not be hearing the voice of Newt Rockne. However, the label says, right here, it says, Newt Rockne talks to his team from Universal Picture, Spirit of Notre Dame. I have to admit that I have not seen the movie, so I can't tell you whether or not this is the voice of Newt Rockne or not. I would be surprised if it was. It is probably the voice of the man who played the coach in the movie, J. Farrell McDonald. In any case, it does catch the nature of the man and his effectiveness as a coach. And one thing I will tell you before I play this is that if I were on his team, I would not want to drop the ball.
Here we go.
All right, Collins, you and Colrick will play the ends. In the same backfield, Jimmy, you and Collins, Chebney, and Nieming. Now, the success of any team, men, based on team play, same as it's shown all year. Sacrifice, unselfish sacrifice. These are the fellows they say are pretty good, but I think we're better. And I think if we get ourselves keyed up to a point where we're confident of that, why, the results will take care of themselves. All right, now in the kickoff, if we receive, the two men drop back on the receiver and block long. I don't know the name style. If we kick off, with the rest of these teams walk, let's run down fast. Just as fast as you can run. And then we go on defense. And on defense, I want the center in and out of that line according to the situation. Use your old head. And I want you guards charging through as far as you can go on every play. They expect to play right over you every time. And the tackles, I want you to go in 1.5 yards and then check yourself. Spread your feet, squat down low, and be ready with your hands and elbows. So you won't be sideswiped. But I want the ends and they're fast every play, but under control. And you men in the backfield there, I want you to analyze before you move. And if they throw a forward pass, wait till you see the ball in the air, and then go and get it. And when we get it, boys, that's when we go on offense. That's when we go to. And don't forget we're going to pick it on one tackle that got us weak. We're going inside them. We're going outside them. Inside them and outside them. And when we get them on the run once, we're going to keep them on the run. And we're not going to pass unless our secondary comes up too close. But don't forget, man, we're going to get them on the run. We're going to go, 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 go. And we aren't going to stop until we go to that goal line. And don't forget, man, today's the day we're going to win. They can't lick us. And from the rest out of the goal, the first whistle of the man go in there and fight, 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 fight. What do you say, man?
And so that was very interesting, Eric. And you mentioned, while I get your mic up here, you mentioned something about the. You had an observation to make.
Well, it did sound a little bit peculiar in that it did seem to have a bit of noise that a typical recording doesn't have, probably because it was dubbed from a film to a wax recording, and that's what I noticed. So, but anyway, a little bit of little motivational top here. A little talk for our evening. Something to remember for the new year. Don't drop any balls.
And so, yeah, that was very interesting. So, up next in our rotation is Connor. But before we do that, this is New Year's Eve 2018 going into 2019. We're 100th anniversary of the year 1919. So I picked some recordings out from that year, and here's one I've had in my collection for many, many years. I've always thought it was kind of a neat recording. So. Learned it's from 1919, so we have this is Adele Rowland on the vocal from 1919, and it's When You See Another Sweetie Hanging Around. I need to get this set here and setting, so we're going to listen to this. This will be 100 years old this upcoming year, so let's give it a listen.
To see me cry the day that you said goodbye. You kind of thought that when you wandered away. On my knees I begged you to stay. I gave you my heart complete. They say that revenge is sweet, but I know very well, more than words can tell, you will kneel at my feet. You see another sweetie hanging around. When you read the love light in his eyes, you'll get wise, believe me. When you see another's arms go hanging around, all these things will make you realize. You're bound to know that old time saying. Tell me, how does it go? Oh, absence makes the heart grow fonder. When you see another sweetie hanging around, that's the time you'll want to come back to me. Another sweetie hanging around. When you read the love light in his eyes, you'll get wise, believe me. When you see another's arms go running around, all these things will make you realize you're jealous. So you're bound to know that old time saying. Tell me, how does it go? Oh, absence makes the heart grow fonder. When you see another sweetie hanging around, that's the time you'll want to come back to me. Really?
And so So that was Adele Rowland in 1919. So just a record I picked out. I've had that in my collection forever, and I've always kind of enjoyed it. So we played it. So coming up next for the program here, I need to make another adjustment. We're going from the acoustic era to the electrical era. This is a Brunswick. This is for Connor. I'm turning up Connor's mic. Tell us, Connor, about the record.
Well, this is a Dallas, Texas band, Herman Waldman and his orchestra.
Oh, yes.
Who made several records. They made a real hot jazz Marbles for Brunswick in 1929, and then they made some sweeter sides for Bluebird in middle of the 30s. This is one from 1931, recorded in San Antonio, that I didn't even know existed until I saw it for sale.
Closer, Mike. Oh, yeah, go on.
And this is a song composed by the band's Reed Men, Jimmy Seekers, and Arno Navratil, called Got No Honey.
Oh, that's good. I love these we had good local territory bands, and you mentioned Marbles. Eddie played that on one of our broadcasts some years ago, was Marbles. So they had a really good band, and yeah, they were big in this area. So Herman Waldman. This is good. I'm looking forward to this. Let's give this a listen.
That I lost her, never knew my heart beat for just my honey until we were apart. Never realized that she made life a dream. Life means nothing now, however gay I may seem. There's no one to go to, I'm just lost somehow. Nothing I can do, 'cause I got no honey now.
Well, I enjoyed that. That was good. That was Herman Waldman, a little bit of local history. So this little charming village we're in called Dallas, it was, I guess, big enough they actually had recording here. Amazing. Pretty amazing. So up next in our rotation is Dustin. Dustin is heading over to get the record he's going to be playing. So I'll just use this moment to let you know that this is the 14th annual Radio Dismuke New Year's Eve broadcast. And we are, Matt from College Station will be joining us soon. He was delayed en route from, it was Matt from College Station now from Florida. And he was en route from Florida and had a delay getting here. So he will be joining us soon. But up in the rotation next is Dustin, who is still getting his record picked out. And here he comes with his record. Let's see what it is. It is a diamond disc. So while we do, Dustin, while you speak into the mic fairly close, because the volume on that mic seems to be having some fun issues, I'm going to be changing out the styli for the diamond disc, and you tell us a little bit about this.
Well, it's a 52,000 series, so it's a late diamond disc. And Connor had played a version of When the Robert E. Lee Comes to Town earlier, and so now we're going to play another version of that, but on Edison by B.A. Rolfe. B.A. Rolfe only recorded on the Edison label, so it's a treat to be able to hear it. B.A. Rolfe is one of my favorites, and we'll hear a version of it and kind of compare. Earlier, I really liked the version that Connor had, and this one's a little bit more energetic, but I like them both.
And is this electric?
This is a 52,000 series, but I think it's too early to be electric in the electric series. So.
Okay. Well, we will figure it out as we play it, whether it's electric or acoustic. And so let's let me get the volume back up here on the turntable. So let's do that right now. Here we go. Yeah, he's. Oh, hold on. One thing we got to do. You got to set it to a vertical. So these had the Hill and Dale grooves. So I got to set the thing for vertical. So here we go.
There'll be banjos ringing and darkies singing when the Robert E. Lee comes to town. And every heart will quiver along the river when those paddle wheels paddle around. Music snappy, they'll be so happy to hear that whistle sound. That's where you'll meet your pals, all the boys and gals, when the Robert E. Lee comes to town.
So, Dustin, that was absolutely, definitely an electric one, and electric diamond discs are rare. Edison didn't start recording electrically until 1927, and but as we pointed out here, the diamond discs had such beautiful surfaces. They were very, very quiet, very little surface hiss. They were laminated, and by the late 20s, there were very few people buying those. And early 1900s Music Preservation, the organization that operates Radio Dismuke, thanks to a wonderful, very generous donation, we actually have a pretty good archive of electrical diamond discs that are in the Radio Dismuke playlist regularly. So there we go. So Eddie, so we had some issues there with the what we can do, Eddie, is Eddie was having some trouble getting his diamond disc on the styli. Do you have a second diamond disc by chance? So what you can do that sometime, we're trouble getting on the spindle hole, and I've had issues with that. So what you do is you get two diamond discs. You get one diamond disc that fits, and then you stack it on top of it. So, and that's another thing that's a little trick you can do with if you have a regular 78 that you cannot fit on your spindle hole, is you can get a diamond disc and put the record on the diamond disc and match it up that way. So what we'll do is you get a diamond disc that fits on the spindle hole, and then you can put your other one on top, or you can play this one, whatever you want to do.
Oh, we'll go ahead and play this.
Oh, he's going to play this one. Okay, so when it comes time to play the other one, we'll do we'll just simply put it on top, and we'll experiment between the hours to see if it works that way. We should be able to do it. So we've got everything set up. Is this electrical or acoustic?
No, that's acoustical.
So this is acoustical, so let me get the equalization set for that. So we have it at 80 RPM, which is what the diamond discs ran at. And so what is what's your record all about?
Well, this is by Wilbur Sweatman.
Oh, I'm sorry, Eddie. I've got to get her mic up. What happened here now?
It's by Wilbur Sweatman's Brownies. I did not know that Wilbur Sweatman was a black orchestra. They also recorded this tune, Battleship Kate, on Janet, but it's of course a more abbreviated version and doesn't have a vocal. This one has a vocal from the orchestra, so we're going to hear Battleship Kate by Wilbur Sweatman's Brownies from 1924.
All right, so let's give it a listen to that.
and she ain't so very true, but she got a way that makes you wanna do. When I'm loving, I always have to wait. She's a woman who likes to aggravate. My sweet darling, love tale telling. Vampire Battleship Kate, I mean, Vampire Battleship Kate.
And that, let me get the speaker down for everybody here. So we were listening to the diamond disc for that Eddie was playing, which was Wilbur Sweatman, right?
Yes.
Wilbur Sweatman's Brownies on Edison diamond disc. So
hear his other. Why don't we play his other diamond disc now? We could use that as a spacer.
Yeah, you had another diamond disc for him.
Yeah,
let's do that right back to back. So we're gonna do that. What I suggested earlier. We're gonna stack the other diamond disc on top because sometimes they have trouble getting through the spindle hole, and so we are for the 14th anniversary of our 14th annual, not anniversary, 14th annual Radio Dismuke New Year's broadcast. We are going to be ringing the new year in all 4 continental United States time zones. We are in the wonderful bungalow, 1920s bungalow of Leslie. We're here with Eddie the Collector. We're here with Eric, Connor. We've got Dustin. Matt from College Station is joining us, and I was in the other room petting Boo Woo, Leslie's cool tuxedo cat, and he seemed to like that. Cats like their little heads rubbed. It still isn't working, so we will move on. So what else do we have up?
Well, let's see.
Who's next in the rotation?
I am, but I don't have a diamond disc.
Oh, well, we can do that. Just whatever you like to do, and while you're getting your record, I will change the style layout for. You'll be a conventional 78, so I'll change the style layout for that.
Okay.
So we're going to have that. A couple things going on here, and I will be talking into Eric's microphone while I change out the styli for this. So with these vintage recordings, you get better sound quality when you use period appropriate styli, and sometimes you get styli that goes above or below the where in the groove. So I've got the styli switched out. And are you going to be playing electric or acoustic?
The electric.
So we'll get that to 78 RPM here. And we are back, and so Eric is picking out a record. You know, modern DJs don't do this kind of stuff. They just hit buttons. It's all digital. So we're using acoustic and early electric recordings, shellac records. So Eric, tell us all about what you got.
Sure. This is the first hi-fi recording of the evening that I recall. And this is an artist that's very familiar to us all. It's George Olson and his orchestra. George Olson had a long recording career and finally retired from recording, and he opened a restaurant in Paramus, New Jersey called George Olson's. He greeted the guests every day, and he had records from the 1920s playing softly in the background. That was an observation made in 1968. He would have been a man who would have been interesting to meet, and had a long career. This recording is called Ain't You Kinda Sorry Now, with vocal by Fran Frey.
And here we go.
Sorry now, sorry that you broke your vow. Whatever made us break up and have that lover's row? Ain't you kinda sorry now? Ain't you kinda lonely too? Lonely for the love we knew. How often do you wake up and miss me anyhow? Ain't you kinda sorry now? Tell me, isn't love's ember burning within you yet? Tell me, can't you remember? Haven't you one regret? Now don't you hate to feel somehow someone else could have me now? Or don't you want to make up and mend that broken vow? Ain't you kind of sorry now?
And that was a Hi-Fi Victor, early 30s Victor Hi-Fi record. Those are in beautiful shape. A lot of times what happens on those is the grooves got trashed real easy with that new Hi-Fi process. They actually had to dumb the records down not long after that, because what few people were buying records at that time were complaining to dealers that they were wearing out too quickly, and it was because of the loud grooves would wear out with the new Hi-Fi process. And so that was, you didn't have fidelity on commercial recordings. The radio transcriptions would have really high fidelity at the time because they used lightweight pickups, but too many people were still using the steel needles of the wind-ups. So it's hard to find some of those in that such good condition.
Yeah, the magnetic pickups at the same time, the magnetic pickups were also very heavy, so combined with the steel needles, with all the additional information that was in those grooves, the records wore out very quickly.
Yeah, so anywho, this brings us to the end of our second hour. There is going to be a third and beyond, but we stopped the recordings once an hour for file management purposes and to give us a chance to regroup technically, because we've been having some technical issues across this past hour that we hope to repair for the next hour. So at the other side of this, other side of me here, you'll hear this. You know, Eric, there's a really, really professional sounding announcer here that just comes on. He's got a really incredible professional voice, and you'll hear that, and then we'll be back. Yeah, so here we go. Listen for the announcer, and then we'll be back.